Like he's trying to create avenues of revenue, like artistic expression. Like they give back to the community. They have the clothing line is sponsoring a family on Thanksgiving
Nice.
of need, like turkey, the whole nine. They do a back to school program. Like they clothe the family who can't afford back to school supplies. It's not just one of those things they're using as an avenue for their own shameless self promotion. Like they really are doing big things to give. And this isn't one of those go to my webpage and do some sketchy shipping and maybe you might get it and maybe you might not. They're going to open like a retail space, like a location. Rich Democrat, don't let the D word scare you because a lot of people right now with the politics, they hear the word Democrat. I'm like, I can't be part of that.
Right.
It's not what we're saying at all. These guys, we're talking, this is from the ground up, truly doing it to give back and succeed on a level that they can pass on to their family, this, that, and the other. They're true hustlers on every level, man. Like no one handed them anything. Like they're doing this thing from the ground up.
Okay, so how do you is their clothing available to purchase now?
They are getting everything off their fall line drops on Black Friday. Instagram page and webpage should be up very soon. As a Rich Democrat.
Okay.
Definitely take a look. We were supposed to link up so I could get you a piece of promotional item.
Okay.
My man was feeling under the weather. Obviously, they're an hour out. We're gonna link up on that, so just post that on your page whenever you get a hold of that.
For sure.
But I had to show him some love, man. He held me down when I lost that job. And I didn't have a pot to piss in, really and truly. My family, like I said, they're blue collar people. They can't just pick up the tab on my life.
Right.
Whenever things don't work out. We got together in this business. I'm lovely right now. Finances are good, and it's all because this dude lifted me up and held me down.
Nice.
So I got to hold him down. Got to show him some love and some support.
Of course, yeah. I mean, and we could, work it out. Get him on the podcast.
Oh man, he'd love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wide open door. That's like the some people, I wasn't expecting, the episode that I got, and then so it's an open door. I invite everybody on.
And like with the way things go these days, like it's hard to not be ambitious with the avenues. And I tend to only surround myself like my buddy Josh Stanley runs a combat athletics. It's an MMA training. We got Torque Performance out in Mox. My buddy Adam runs that. You obviously have the podcast going. Like my brother Damien's got Rich Democrat going. My boy Morris Antonio's got Alibi clothing line. They did for sisters only. Nice. Like he has a spot for sisters only every year. Life's too short to just exist. Right. At some point, you got to start living, man.
You got to start doing something.
Absolutely. I'm not saying I'm Mr. Entertainment. I feel like I got something to offer.
Hey, it's so many opportunities too to like just go out and do what you want to do. And once you just draw an audience, it's not even a huge audience. Like if you just have a couple of people, then a couple of people turns into a couple of people, turns to Absolutely. Some people, turns into more, turns into a whole bunch. So but yeah, definitely. We can get him on here. Have a conversation. Plug it. I'm getting into a whole bunch of other things too, man. Like TV production,
really,
stuff like that. Like I want to start like shooting TV shows.
That's awesome.
And like the school that I go to, they have a multi-camera studio that it's sitting empty, like 99% of the time.
Really? What they used to use it for?
Well, I mean, it's for the students, but the school also, like the professors are professionals. So like the guy who's teaching me camera work, he does camera work. So they'll, record a commercial there, or they'll record, this or that there, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, it's for the students.
Yeah.
But people come through and they use it to do assignments, but they just leave it sitting there. There's a 3-camera studio. There's a control room. So I got all these resources. So I want to start doing like talk shows.
Oh, that's great.
Skits,
that is cool.
And like I don't even necessarily I don't want to be on the. I personally don't like being in front of the camera. I like this, but I don't like being in front of a camera. So I'm like I'm trying to meet people who have some type of show idea, can do a show. If I have people who could do this, from a studio, and I'm just maybe booking guests or writing notes or just recording it, just hitting the button. I mean, with that type of content, you guys got cable?
No.
Okay.
We keep it real. My pops is kind enough to let us get that Time Warner Cable login.
Right?
You know how the game is changing these days.
Exactly.
Time Warner Cable's got that last dollar for me.
Exactly.
We have a laptop we keep plugged in the USB, stream everything.
Okay. Well, see, so I was doing that, and then I'm still doing it now, but I stream it through Roku.
Okay.
Which is that, so I can stream, and I use my brother's Time Warner login information to watch TV. Yeah. But with stuff like that, Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, you can have a developer channel and sell them your content. Because really, that's the end game for me. It's to employ people. I want to
absolutely.
I want to put the whole team on, and everybody eats.
Yeah, absolutely. And to get to that level and have people kind of buy into what you're doing, you need to take part in the greatest tool in all of media, shameless self-promotion.
Absolutely.
Just elevate. You got to elevate that brand.
Yeah.
You got to elevate that brand.
Absolutely. So, once I get to that point, and that's paid for content. You can lock it up and sell it like a Hoodflix or a Netflix. Yeah. You sell this type of local content to people for $3.99, $4.99, $5.99 a month, and there has to be some type of way that people dividends are reaching to everybody involved. But that's the end game, and I feel like I could do something like that by this time next year. Not on a major level, but definitely this time next year.
It seems like a very reasonable timeline. Right now, we're trying to get stacked up just right so me and her can make some moves in the grand scheme of things. Right. Which entails a laundry list of things. But before you can do anything else, you need capital.
You do.
I don't care what your plan is. If you're broke, the plan's not going to go too far.
Exactly. The only way I can even do any of this is because I have access to this equipment for free. But if I had to pay for it, then I'd be like, man, I really want to do that. And, it would be a dream, for a while.
You ever seen the Ludacris behind the music? He cut his first album because he worked in a radio station. He would work his shift, get off, and record his album for free on the equipment. And in some cases, it would take hours and hours. And he would go home and sleep for 3 hours and come back and work again. And no one had any idea.
Yeah, and I think about doing something very similar with the tools that I'm using. Except that I don't have to sneak around.
Oh yeah.
So I can just call a number. I'm like, hey, can I book the studio? But there are times where I want to use it for purposes outside of what's allowed and outside of times that are allowed. And I'm just I want to hack and finagle this situation. But I could probably cut a person's album in there if I mean. Oh man. Yeah, it's set up it's a radio station in there,
legitimate broadcasting equipment.
Yeah, it's the oldest broadcast institute in the country. In the country, over 50 years.
There's one in Salisbury. You ever heard of that one? It's a school of broadcasting in Salisbury.
It's not the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
I think it is.
Yeah, they got a couple of satellite locations. All I'm gonna say about them is that they're not accredited by the state, but I do know people who went there and are working in the industry, making a ton of money doing something that they love doing. Oh man! But from where from the school that I go to, I know a lot more people. Okay. I know a lot more people. Absolutely. Making moves because people who go to the Connecticut school, if you're talented and this is what you want to do, you'll make it work. But at my school, they can mold. A shapeless pile of clay into something.
To Marv Albert.
Yeah, they can mold. What I'm saying, because these are professionals. These are people who, after they're done molding you, they go to work and do the things that they just taught you how to do.
Absolutely.
So they're like, hey, if you want to work with me tomorrow, listen to me today.
See, you have a game plan and a blueprint, and it doesn't matter what you do. I'm so dazzled. I'm beginning to work it out. I'm so dazzled by people I want to do. When I washboard abs and I want to lift this, I want to lift that. What workout are you doing? Just go in there and do stuff.
Right.
You can't. I want a 6-story house and I want it to be so many square feet. Cool, I can build it. Well, where's the blueprint? I'm just going to start building. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. And I can say that this is the only aspect of my life that's any kind of organized.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
That's any kind of,
something thought or planned out I'm doing. Everything else.
Just
see is what you get, baby.
Pretty much.
Let the chips fall where they may.
I mean, I've just surrendered all control. I have.
I think you are grossly underplaying how extreme that statement is.
I have, absolutely.
I've surrendered all control. Good God.
I have.
All right. I mean,
I have. I mean,
I guarantee you're not very stressed.
Oh, that's why I did it. I mean,
surrendered all control.
And after I just, let the chips fall where they may, I sleep better at night. I sleep better. I tell less lies. I'm just letting today handle the day. But this right here, this and my child are my two biggest investments.
Absolutely.
And then, because another thing I want to do next year too, I don't know, like if you do like comic books or manga or anything like that, like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z.
I'm aware of their existence. I know enough to have a light conversation, but I can't say like I know it.
Okay, so that's like door number 3. So that's like this is like door my kid, who I'm hoping is door number 1.
Of course,
of course, returns a huge investment. This would be door number 2, and then like my comic book manga obsession would be door number 3.
Man, I feel you. As like I said, a pro wrestling nerd, I understand having a door number 3.
Right.
I have donated far too many of my knees to the Belmont Abbey Athletic Department, so that door may have shut. But I get what's like harboring that passion. Right. You don't have to understand it. You have to respect the passion.
Right. So, but yeah, man. So I definitely think I mean, it was very we hadn't spoken to each other in so many years.
And you were always different than all the other kids. Like you were always that one who's like, I would probably really like this guy outside of like the situation. Right. This is someone I'd hang out with.
Right. I mean, how old are you now?
32.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm 28. So I mean, yeah, people.
I nailed that 4-year thing, didn't I?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that I assumed that we were pretty close in age, just because we could have a conversation about the same things.
Yes, absolutely. You remember when that Ron Artest riot happened? Yes. You were the one that told me about it.
Yeah, I do.
I woke up and had no clue that it had happened, and we had to be at the school really early to go somewhere. And this is a quote that is burned in my brain that I've carried with me for over a decade now. I woke up and I was like, "What's up, everybody? Hey, what's going on, Coach?" And you came in with this sense of urgency, head on a swivel type mentality. Coach. It's like, what's up? Ron Artest was whooping ass last night. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And like, some of the kids were watching like the news that was in another room, and I came in and I just saw this black man just unleash the wrath of thousands of years of oppression onto everyone that was in his wake. So, and then you know what that did? That day it dispelled the guy who sits in the stand and goes, "These guys aren't so tough."
Right, yeah.
That guy is extinct after like, these guys are in fact so tough.
These guys are pretty tough. He ran into the stands and he started punching innocent people. He didn't care who was in his way.
But that one guy who felt like, I've had enough. I'm 5'8". I was a hell of a third string left tackle back in the 80s. I'm going to go show this dude what's up. And that ended so fast.
Yeah, definitely. I remember watching that game, and then I think they played. That had to have been L.A., so they were playing like on the West.
Pistons, I want to say.
Yeah, it was definitely it was the Pistons and L.A.
Yeah, I believe it was the Pistons.
So they were playing on the West Coast, and I remember falling asleep, but I woke up late that night because the commotion kept going on. I left it on like whatever channel. It must have been ESPN, so the commotion woke me up, and I was like, damn. that happened when I went to sleep?
Yeah, and Jermaine O'Neal was just so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
He's that one friend that everybody has is just about it, just about that life. It's like, we fighting. It's like, I don't even know what we're fighting for. Let me hit somebody.
He just ran up and laid that other dude down.
You want to talk about a dude who is just looking to... Like, everyone's got that friend who is just so militant about everything.
Thugs. I mean, and then that's when I remember seeing it like, man, that's what people think. Basketball players are thugs. Like, you're in there beating up
patron. In theory, that is 20,000 people versus you. In theory, he shouldn't feel like he can win this fight.
But as soon as he ran up there, everybody just ran away.
That dude, you want to talk about a no-nonsense, throwback, zero-tolerance policy and life stance on something. You threw a drink. marched into the crowd and singled him out.
He did. He went straight for him.
God.
But, I mean, that's not the type of person. Him,